So as we all know, a diet feeder is very important to any dairy farm or beef farm. It's essential for milk quality and for weight gain in beef cattle. So that's why we're here at Paul Monaghan's yard to talk and look at diet feeders. So Paul, tell me a bit about your business and where you locate it and kind of a round figure of what you do.
So I started back about 10 years ago, based here just outside Rover village in County Meath here. I started feeding, I fattened beef cattle and feeding them silage, straw, some potatoes and meal. I noticed the cattle were eating an awful lot of meal and potatoes and they weren't touching the straw and the silage. So then I looked into buying a diet feeder. Somebody told me you needed a diet feeder that you were wasting all your silage and your straw, that you weren't getting the best value out of the whole lot. I bought my first diet feeder was a Keenan tub feeder, and I used to mix the silage and the straw in it, chop the potatoes into it and mix the meal in it. I couldn't believe it after the first month of using it, how the cattle had changed totally. They were far happier. They were starting to fatten a lot easier, and I had no waste of silage or straw. Everything was being eaten. Before that, on a Saturday, when I'd feed the silage and straw and the potatoes on top and the meal, the silage and straw would be just pushed out one side and everything else was gone. And the cattle really were scouring. They weren't using up at all. So that's really how I started on the diet feeders. And then after that, I bought in another one, and a bigger one. I decided to go bigger one, and it ended up being too big, and I sold this. And on the back of that first sale to a local man, I sold another one, and that's how my business really started on diet feeders.
So you weren't thinking of getting into the machinery business at all? It was only for the cattle, and then that's how you proceeded?
Yeah, well, look, I was a maintenance fitter by trade, and I wouldn't be mechanical minded. So then when anything went wrong, I fixed it, and that's how the whole thing started. And a lot of ones I started buying in then had work to be done on them, and that's really how I got in it.
After that, then you obviously built this shed, and then you started. What was, because I know you do other brands, bar Keenan.
I do other tub feeders and second-hand tub feeders and new tub feeders, and I do straw blowers, and of late I do the Celtic bale splitter there for splitting the bale in two before I put it into the Keenan, and I do a good bit in second-hand straw blowers there at the minute as well. So a couple of years back, a salesman from Keenan approached me to buy some second-hand tub feeders, and I ended up buying them, and then I ended up getting set up as a dealer with them for me for the new and used feeders. And then since that has developed into, I take all the second-hand feeders for the whole country for Keenan, and I refurbish whatever has to be refurbished to whatever the customer wants, and I sell them on second-hand. Some people want them sprayed, some people want them just paint touched up, new liners, new blades, whatever the customer wants. So they're usually not done until the customer buys, and it's done to whatever his spec. Sometimes I'd have, maybe for coming into the summer, I'd have machines done to, if they need a belly, they'll get a belly, new blades, new rubbers, new end plates, auger relined. And if the paint is bad, it gets resprayed. If it's not, it's touched up. And it's sold then contra to whatever money is spent on it.
So you take all of Keenan's feeders, all the kind of refurb ones, and they go through you? Yeah,
basically then they're sold off to every end of the country now.
And then that's where I come in. We met you a good couple of years ago. Dad was passing down the road here and seen that you done diet feeders, and we had Keenan's for years. The first Keenan we bought would be back in 2001 or 2002, but it was like that. There was no real main agency up around here.
Yeah.
To start, and that's why we came across you. And basically we came up here about, I'd say 3 times, having a look at, we were in between, we were messing around and we were thinking of what to do, and So yeah, so we've decided to buy a Keenan.
A 350, yeah. I left it in a demo with you there for a week, and I think he's happy enough with it, so he's deciding to go ahead. So
It's not back on the low loader anyway. So.
yeah, that's a good sign anyway. So yeah, so that's what we do. Some people are very unsure. We'll give them a demo, and if they're happy with it, usually. And 99% of them don't come back. Lads will take them, and it's proven what it is. And then I do tub feeders as well. Some people believe there's only one machine is a Keenan, and other people believe there's only tub feeder. I try to cater for everyone's wants.
And I know we were very tempted on a tub feeder here.
Yeah.
Why did you drop down a Keenan instead of a tub feeder to us? What did you feel?
I just seen our yard, and I just seen what you were putting into it, and it was 90% pit silage and maize, and you had high yielding cows. So I just thought that paddle feeder would have suited your system an awful lot better than a tub feeder. Would have given you that little bit extra of a better mix than a tub. But the tub feeder has its place in the market too, because some people would do nothing on the bales, maybe some small farmers, 4 or 5 links of a slatted shed, and all they want to do is put in a bit of straw and bales. So that's how I started out, but now at the minute, my own system, I'm using chop and beat. I chop beat with the Keenan, and I can tease the bales into it, and it still works out the finest too. If you just want to horse bales in through and just feed them out, probably the tub feeder is the way to go. But if you want a really good mix, I would say the Keenan is the way to go. So there's pros and cons for both. I'm just not like an ordinary dealer. I can bring it over to my own slatted shed and feed out the cattle as well. It's tried and tested basically before it goes, if the person requires that. I try to do the best I can to help a fella and be open and honest on what he's getting before he buys it.
So Keenan comes in here, you get it off farm. What's the first thing? Well, you have obviously it sold then out from the front. Then you bring it in here. What's kind of your first protocol that you do it normally? The first protocol that we do is we'll check the belly, the auger line, and check the chains. So if the belly, I have a steel measure, if it's measuring under 4 mil, we usually strip all the blades out, strip the paddle rubbers off, and reline it. Some machines come in and they could be wore down to 1 mil. Some feeders could come in and they could be a 3 mil, 4 mil. It's just depending on where they are and what used to are. Some people will take a chance and they'll say they're happy enough to buy a machine and they'll reline it in 2 years' time. But 90% of people want it sold, relined, and they're good for another 5, 6, 10 years, depending on how much they're using it. Like some machines we noticed lately too, like the one you have yourselves, would have had a hard ox line around it from the factory. It's usually good as well. You just need a general service and maybe check the tension in the chains, or replace a chain if we need it, or replace any bearings and bushings in the bale handler and stuff like that. Just standard stuff.
Standard service. Probably the bigger, like for instance this one here behind us, 320, it was just measuring around 4 mil. It got a new belly and end plates, new blades, new paddle rubbers going to it.
And what's the ideal? Like, what is your ideal mill?
Your ideal, well, it starts off 6 mil.
6 mil.
So there's really 10 mil, we'll say, left in this one here behind. So you could wear out this liner, this new liner arm after putting in, and you'd still have some wear left after that as well.
And what is the age of so what's the lifespan? It comes in here, you redo it. How long do you expect that machine to run for, or is it literally all to do with the farmers?
Well, it's all to do with the farmers. Usually, like if Northern Ireland, I am mostly seeing that they use the feeders 365 days a year. Down south here is 4, 5, 6 months depending. So it's all to do with the use. Like, yeah, I see some machine. I see a machine that came in for me there the other day, 340. It's 2011 machine, so it's nearly 14-year-old, and it's on its original belly. It needs a belly now at this stage. It just depends on the use. Same with a tub feeder as well. Tub feeders, the walls will wear on them as well, so we relined a few of them here this year as well. So it depends as well how much is turning.
Warranty on a machine, what way do you work warranty here, or is it?
Second-hand machines, I usually give 3 months. Some people want to buy them the way they are, so it's usually 3 months on a second-hand machine.
What is your limitations on fixing a machine? Like, where does the buck stop?
Listen, I can very well say we'll sort everything here, maybe the controllers and the clocks. I send them usually back to Keenan or to get repaired. Everything else, like joining cables, sometimes you have rats and mice in the machine, you'll eat the cables going to the load cells. All line can be repaired. I can, replace load cells. Usually, if a box was given trouble, we'd have a second one there or a new one. We just put onto a machine and swap it back. We'd have always something to get a man up and running again. Whether it's a tub feeder or a paddle feeder, we can always get to going. Probably the only difference with the tub feeder is if a gearbox went down, that can be a slower fix. With the paddle feeders, usually in a chain or a bearing, or a shaft. Worst case scenario, that would be that.
So it is safe to say the Keenan is a very easy ran machine. Like, there's nothing really to go wrong as such.
Yeah.
Unless you're John Halton and abuses the life out of one.
They are very easy machines, so as long as they're kept dialed and greased and like this 320 there, they have an auto oiler on the chain.
Because I'm right in saying, I think there is one of those in the Keenan we bought
Yeah,
off you?
there is an auto oiler.
You can spec a Keenan whatever way you kind of want with the bail fingers, and then your big, what do you call it? I call it the big black flap.
Yeah, or the big door, yeah. So the door really only stops your bail or your loose silage from falling off the other side. But some people, maybe like that 365 behind you, just use the forks, we'll say, and other people like the big black flap. So it's just whatever, it's what the customer wants. Or usually coming into me, it's what came in from the original farmer in the beginning.
You don't really change too much.
No, sometimes I put on bail handlers, sometimes I take them off. So it's all back again to what the customer wants on the day.
And just as well with the knives, like how many knives is in a standard machine and how many extra knives can you put in, or is that up to you?
Well, that's, some people don't use knives at all, they only want to mix meal and stuff. Other people want to chop straw, so they want as many knives in it as they can. I think they're on a 320, I think it's 38 knives, 38 or 40, something like that. And 365, I think it's 48 knives in it.
There's a lot. I didn't even think there was that many blades in it now. I thought there was only...
Yeah, so it's up, basically again, it's up to the customer. If he wants a full set, we put a full set in it, and there's new configs out, so it's doing more, when they get the relining plates, it's doing more cutting on this side and the other side, and doing more cutting and coming up on the side next to the auger, rather than on the other side there. We can do it again, whatever the customer wants, and I'll recommend as best I can what I think is right. And if you're chopping beet or potatoes or anything like that, you need as many knives as you can. And a good top knife as well is also very important. So if a big bit of silage or anything comes around on the paddle, that the top knife will cut off. So all them things lead to an easier driven machine and a better chopping machine.
A dye feeder is the backbone of any beef and dairy farm, right? They are, for a dairy farmer or beef farmer that just can't afford a new machine, what saving do you get from buying a refurb machine from you?
We have multiple different choices. So as I said earlier, we have some machines that come in, maybe one farm, and there might be a lot of life left in the belly, so they can be sold on. And then we have our refurb one, as you're calling it here, that has maybe a new belly, new auger, new end plates, new blades, paddle rubbers, paintwork tidied up, and lather and all straight, whatever work needs to be done, probably a new top knife. So that's probably coming in at roughly half price of a new machine. And then fully refurbed, that have for new belly, new ends, new auger, lining, any flights that has to be changed, fully resprayed, probably new hoses if the farmer wants them. And that could be 60 to 70% of a new one. But that would be looking like new. Again, it's all to what the farmer requires or what he wants to spend. So we can start off at basically a machine that's off farm to a machine that's looking as close to new as you will. So
you can go right
and then I can sell you the new one either if you really want. So we can cover all. We hope to try and cover all range, and that's the same in a tub feeder. I know it's a lot. I know men that like to buy maybe the 10 and the 12 cube tub the same. you know what I'm saying, but they'd like to buy the second-hand one. I try to cover every range if we can at all, like, you know.
So Paul, listen, thanks very much for dropping up the machine. We really actually do like it. It's because we were really unsure which way we're going to go, and you did actually convince us this is actually what we need and not what we want, because there's a big difference in need and want. So look, just thank you very much for that. And
right, sure. Well, the best of luck to you again, sure. I hope you get as long out as this one as you did the last one.
oh, we will.
Okay, I'm sure of that.